Constitution, tens of millions of us know this in our very bones. If we dare, we can defeat a horror that threatens humanity's very survival.
It's despicable. Despicable.
It is. And if we fail to even try, future generations, if they exist, will never forgive us. The Trump fascist regime is shredding the rule of law, making a mockery of due process, illegitimately deploying the military on U.S. soil, disappearing immigrants and other brown-skinned citizens into brutal concentration camps, aggressively resurrecting genocidal white supremacy, reversing the gains not only of the 1960s, but even of the Civil War and Resurrection. Reconstruction, sorry. Reconstruction, that was great. Enslaving women through the brutality and suffocation of forced motherhood. Trying to erase our LGBTQ siblings with particular venom. Trampling democratic rights, violating international law, assaulting and threatening politicians and judges, paving the way for boundless terror against the people, accelerating climate collapse, cutting science and medicine, costing millions of lives, depleting humanity's store of knowledge, destroying truth, drowning out reason, subjugating the arts to fascist cruelty and conformity, targeting everything that is decent, moral, and good, all at the whim of a debased lunatic tyrant. Hopes of waiting this out are illusion. Every accommodation, even in the name of preserving some ability to do some good, only fuels Trump's demand for ever more slavish submission. Every capitulation by universities, by law firms, by agencies only feeds the regime's ravenous hunger to remake all of society in its grotesque image. This is fascism, a different form of brutal rule. It cannot be lived with. It must be defeated. It must be. The elections are way too late. Besides, no honest person can expect the tyrant who instigated and then pardoned the January 6th insurrectionists to respect any election he loses. But there is a way. We have protested, marched, defended neighbors from ICE, decried genocide. Some of us have resigned or blown the whistle. This shows we are millions, many more of us than there are of them. Now we must take this higher. We must direct all of this and more towards the only thing that truly measures up to the existential threat humanity faces. The whole Trump fascist regime must be driven from power. This can be done by refusing to surrender the future and our humanity to a vengeful fascist maniac. By rising in our millions, unrelenting, in nonviolent protest and resistance, starting now. By defying and refusing to comply with fascist dictates, this fearlessly using our platforms and influence to inspire and challenge others to join us, beginning now. And then we come back from all across the country, from every corner of this nation, and we flood D.C. We get on that bus, we get on that plane, we get on that automobile, that unicycle, that hot air balloon. We get our butts to D.C., and we do so with such determination. With such growing numbers. That all of society and the whole world takes note and takes heart, and it is the fascists who cower in fear. And we create such a political crisis, such an civil uprising so great that Trump cannot govern, that he cannot carry out his program of terror, that he cannot remain in power. By doing all of this, day after day, coming back stronger in the face of attack and repression, uniting, not dividing, coming together across many viewpoints, the religious and the atheists, the never-Trumpers and the Democrats, the anarchists, the communists, and everybody in between. Bringing people together from all different backgrounds, from the students to the octogenarians to people of all nationalities, fostering a collective spirit of courage and righteous fury, willing to sacrifice for the greater good of defeating this fascism. This starts with us. This starts today. This starts with you. So there are, at that table or coming around, there are flyers with this call. You gotta come and get stacks of it. And you gotta take it to your place of worship. That was my cue for my friends by the table to get those flyers out to everyone. We gotta fill our backpacks. We gotta go and bring them to our place of worship, our neighborhood, our schools. We gotta sign up at refusefascism.org so we know what's happening. We gotta follow Refuse Fascism on social media. You are needed to bring your perspective, your voice, your talents, your networks, your resources, yes, your funds, your moral conviction and commitment to the future into this fight today. If we're able to do this, if we're able to drive this regime out, it will be because you helped make that happen. History is in our hands. We have watched as institution after institution has lined up to capitulate like dominoes. But we can, and that can be part of a national strike. I will take a lot of strikes and walkouts and all sorts of things to make it happen. But part of that is instead of people and institutions capitulating like dominoes, we create a domino effect of our own. Where we force the regime to fall. Where institution after institution says enough. Where we inspire more courage and more refusal. Where schools, hospitals, government agencies, national parks, scientific research centers, every sector doesn't cooperate, doesn't comply, and connects this with the demand that the Trump fascist regime must go. As I said before, we are the majority. There are millions of us, tens of millions of us strong, and we are in agencies and in the hospitals, in the schools, in the law firms, in the corporations across the country that this regime needs to carry out their program. And we can shut it all down. We have to make a leap other and saying no. While it is righteous that people have resigned publicly in protest, we need people to stay and fight. We need people to tell their colleagues to join them, to stop making excuses, to demand that they stand up to fascism. And this has everything to do with flooding D.C. on November 5th, because this is the resistance that needs to start now. Where capitulation has gone on, we must demand reversal. Fascists shouldn't be the only ones that drive out a college president. If Columbia doesn't reverse, faculty and students should drive their president, Shipman, out of power. Where they haven't yet capitulated, we gotta demand that administrators don't bow down, as the thousands are doing right now to Harvard's administration. It's time to make clear that if they fold, they will face the demand for their removal from the people. Same in all the institutions, and all of this combined with the demand that this regime must be driven from power. So who can remind me, when are we flooding D.C.? Every day, and then in our millions. We're starting November 5th. So we gotta get our plane tickets, our train tickets. We gotta organize buses now. We gotta make our carpool plans, because from that day forward, it's on. We don't stop until the Trump regime is removed. The hope for humanity, for the future, is riding on what we do. Think about the songs and poems that inspire us, the civil rights icons we look up to. They're not people who just skated by in the face of atrocity. They are the people who are willing to risk it all, to change their lives, to stop grave horrors. You cannot tell yourself the lie that this cannot be done. We cannot give ourselves the excuse before we even dare to try, as humanity and the planet hang in the balance. When our grandchildren or the generations yet to come ask you, what did you do during the Trump regime? When they ask you, Gramps, Grandma, what did you do when masked men rounded up your neighbors and sent them to concentration camps? When they kidnapped asylum seekers and dropped them into war zones they had no connection to, they didn't speak the language, where they were sent to be tortured or killed? What did you do when dissidents were jailed, journalists silenced, books banned, history rewritten? What will you say? I hated it. I posted a TikTok. I cried. I seethed in private, believing it was intolerable, but doing nothing? Fuck no! We must be able to say, we refuse to compromise. We moved heaven and earth to drive this regime from power. And I'll end with this. History is full of examples where people who had right on their side fought against tremendous odds and were victorious. It is also full of examples of people passively hoping to wait it out, only to get swallowed up by a horror beyond what they ever imagined. The future is unwritten. Which one we get is up to us. It's up. We're going to make this pledge together to make it real. We're going to spread this everywhere. In the name of humanity. In the name of humanity. We refuse to accept. We refuse to accept. A fascist America. The Trump fascist regime must go now. Trump must go now. Trump must go now. Trump must go now. All right.
Okay, I want you to make another as loud as you can noise for Sam and for yourselves. As loud as you can. Blow whistles. If you've got a drum, beat that drum. Make some noise. All right, look, this is beautiful. This is beautiful and so important. And what we just heard from Sam gives us some fucking direction about what to do. Yeah. Look, people have been up against. How the fuck do we stop this? And we've just heard something that opens up a pathway for how we break on through. So give it up again for Sam Goldman. Okay, we're going to have a couple more speakers up. I want to bring up my co-MC, Tony from New York, who just came down today. She is part of Refuse Fascism in New York. She's going to introduce our next speaker. We're going to have a couple more speakers, and then we're going to march. And before we get ready to march, I'm going to give you guys some direction. I'm going to give you guys some direction about what we're doing on this march and how we can go together and do